Tonight on CFTK-TV News, the Houston RCMP are looking for a missing man. A decision involving a wastewater treatment plant in North Vancouver is proving to be very controversial, and BC's South Coast is set to get a very hot week.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Cale Maslin, and here's what's making the news in the Northwest and beyond for today. Earlier today, an announcement was made by BC Premier David Eby, letting it be known that the provincial government and Haisla Nation have come together to create a $200 million contribution agreement. This agreement is meant to ensure that the Cedar LNG facility will run on clean BC energy. Another part of the agreement will see the Haisla Nation get support as they build a new 287 kilovolt transmission line, a new substation, new distribution lines, and nearshore electrification, which is all needed to make sure that the facility runs on clean electricity. We will have more information on this announcement tomorrow from CFTK's Helen Asante. The annual Riverboat Day celebration is rapidly approaching in Terrace, and some people might be wondering how they'll be able to get around on the day of the festivities. One option that will be available is public transit, as BC Transit, the City of Terrace and Regional District of Kitimat-Stikeen, will be offering free service on all routes to the celebration on both this upcoming Saturday and Sunday. This was done with the intention of helping people enjoy the festival safely by decreasing the amount of vehicles on the road, although no buses will be in service for BC Day on Monday. The Houston RCMP recently put out a notice that asks for the public's help in their efforts to locate a missing man. The man that is being sought out goes by the name Michael Randolph Kowalchuk, and he hasn't been seen in several months. Kowalchuk has been described as a 6-foot-tall, 56-year-old Caucasian male that weighs around 194 pounds, while also having a medium build, blue eyes, long blonde hair that's usually worn in a ponytail, and a light brown goatee. His last known address was in Grand Isle, with the police also believing that he could be working in Manitoba while driving a white 2003 Cadillac Escalade with a BC license plate reading VJ297C. Anyone with information on Kowalchuk's whereabouts are being asked to call the Houston RCMP at 250-561-3300. Metro Vancouver is under fire for a controversial decision on the beleaguered wastewater treatment plant in North Vancouver. A review was supposed to look into how the project spiraled to cost nearly $4 billion, but that's been put on pause. Now some local politicians are angry about the stench of secrecy. CTV's Dimitra Maragos has the story.
Work continues at the North Shore Wastewater Treatment Plant.
Well, I think it's absolutely critical we get on with it now.
Surrey City Councillor Linda Annis speaking out about her frustrations with the beleaguered project. Metro Vancouver board directors deciding in secret to pause an independent review over ballooning costs. The board citing ongoing litigation with the original contractor.
I was very disappointed to hear that this was done as a closed vote.
Annis is one of several councillors to voice concerns.
There isn't open and transparency, and it's the taxpayers' money that's being spent through all of this.
Initially projected to be completed in 2020 and cost $700 million. Now, the end date has been pushed back a decade, set to finish in 2030, and cost close to $3.9 billion.
There's absolutely no way a project of this magnitude should have such cost overruns without it coming to light way earlier.
Annis says she is calling on Premier David Eby to reverse this closed-door vote to suspend the review.
We're reviewing the decision of Metro Vancouver to delay doing a full review.
Eby says he's aware of the councillors' concerns and about the lawsuit.
If they were wronged by the contracting company, that they're able to recover in court and offset some of the losses that taxpayers and all of us are facing as a result.
Stopping short of ordering the review to continue, Eby says taxpayers deserve to know whether Metro Vancouver has the capacity to build major infrastructure projects. Back at Surrey City Hall, Annis has similar questions.
I'm deeply concerned that are the budgeted amounts correct?
We reached out to Metro Vancouver asking to speak with any of the directors. None were made available. Dimitra Maragos, CTV News, Vancouver.
Coming up next is a warning about an apparent investor scam. Welcome back. A Surrey woman has been left scrambling after losing hundreds of thousands of dollars in an apparent investor scam. Now we're learning the scammer is potentially using a famous businessman and author's name to lure in victims. CTV's Craig Krause has the story.
This is the $43,500.
What began as an investment was anything but.
He convinced me. My friend said, no, you are a behavior therapist. You work with kids with autism. Let's invest. And whatever money comes, we'll build a school and provide free services to children with autism.
She says she invested $20,000 with someone who she says was Robert Kiyosaki, a well-known author and businessman that her family friend had previously worked with.
I was assured I'll get my money, I think 48% back.
That was just the start. She was then asked to send an additional $43 grand for agent fees. Vakashni declined and demanded her money back.
My friend said, you know how much I've invested? $600,000. It's on hold because you are not paying your share of the agent fee.
Since February, Vakashni says she has sent $375,000 with no return on investment. So CTV News called her friend to get an update on his situation.
The number you have reached is not in service.
We then tried calling the numbers used for the so-called investors.
To Verizon Wireless, the number you dialed has been changed.
I then contacted media relations for Robert Kiyosaki. I was sent an email that read, "This is obviously someone claiming to be him, and fraud and identity theft run rampant, and high-profile individuals are easy targets, something the Surrey Police Service is urging people to be vigilant of."
So it falls into that category of, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. What we recommend to people is do your research.
I had to cash out RRSP.
In the meantime, Vakashni says she has a $157,000 deposit now frozen after being flagged by the bank, and she's left scrambling to retrieve the rest of her money and is hoping her story will prevent others from being scammed.
I have nightmares. I have panic attacks. Sometimes I go to sleep, I can't even breathe thinking about how I'm going to get my money back.
Craig Crow, CTV News, Surrey.
A scorcher of a week is on the way for BC's south coast. Parts of the region are about to see temperatures spike well above seasonal levels, with some areas expected to feel more like August than July. CTV's Reagan Hasagawa has the details.
Environment Canada says a mini heat wave is building on the south coast. Temperatures are expected to reach the mid-20s today and then will climb higher as we head into the middle of the week. An upper ridge is building, and by tomorrow, the mercury will soar. Expect temperatures to reach the high 20s near the coast and the low 30s further inland. By Wednesday, even waterfront areas could hit 30 degrees, but it will feel hotter with humidity. The warm weather is being welcomed by families enjoying Coquitlam's Town Centre Park.
I like the water park.
It's not just the heat. The region is also under a dry spell. A third of the province, including the lower mainland, is under drought level 2 right now, meaning it's abnormally dry. With just 17 millimeters of rain so far, this is tracking to be a drier than usual July in Metro Vancouver.
We've received about half at YVR of precipitation compared to a normal July. We don't really see much precipitation until Thursday night.
Earlier this month, BC's minister in charge of water urged residents to conserve the resource as this year's drought season is expected to be more severe than last year. She's expected to provide an update tomorrow. Reagan Hasagawa, CTV News, Coquitlam.
A seagull got a second chance at life after it swallowed a wooden barbecue skewer and it became lodged in its neck. The bird was captured and treated by a wildlife rescue organization before recently getting released at White Rock Pier. CTV's Shannon Patterson has that story.
Inside this cage is a seagull about to be released back into the wild at White Rock Pier.
So it's a glaucous-winged gull, probably a couple years old, and did get skewered in the neck.
This is an X-ray of that seagull with a wooden barbecue skewer lodged in its neck.
So we actually swallowed it completely, we think, and then regurgitated it back out. And on the regurgitation, the skewer poked out through the right side of his neck.
Multiple pier visitors spotted the gull in distress in early July and reported it to Wildlife Rescue.
We're very grateful that we were able to capture him. It took us a couple days before we were able to do so, but once we got him, we were able to bring him to our veterinary clinic with one of our registered vet techs at our center.
The gull was sedated and the wooden skewer was safely removed from its neck.
We were concerned about internal organ damage, especially in the neck, the esophagus, the trachea, and luckily the skewer was a few millimeters away from the trachea.
After rehabilitating at the Wildlife Center for 3 weeks, the gull was fitted with an identifying leg band and brought back to the pier for release Monday morning. When its cage was opened, it cautiously walked out onto the beach and stayed there for several minutes.
It wanted to get its bearings, right? Come out of the confinement and just make sure it knew where it was. You saw it fluffing up its feathers and getting its feathers all aligned. He was getting ready to take flight.
Eventually, the bird took off and circled the pier.
We're very grateful to see him get released back into its homeland.
This is the second time Wildlife Rescue has saved a seagull that swallowed a wooden barbecue skewer.
I think with any human trash, it's the best thing you can do is dispose of it in a proper contained space. We have a lot of wildlife that if they get hungry, they're going to go through garbage. They know that there's food scraps in there that they could potentially eat, and it can become very dangerous for them.
We hope that after this, he stays away from human garbage and has a long, healthy life.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News, White Rock.
And now we take a look at both your nightly and weekly weather forecast. On the north coast, the night should see a chance of showers or drizzle at a low of 13 degrees, while their upcoming week expects to be all rain and clouds and a high shifting from 19 to 16 degrees. In the Terrace-Kitimat area, tonight's forecast calls for a few clouds at a low at 14 degrees, and the rest of the week expects to be filled with mostly mixed sun and cloud days with the occasional purely sunny and purely cloudy day, with their high bouncing between 23 and 21 degrees. And in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, their night expects to get a few clouds too, but with a low of 8 degrees. And as for the rest of the week, it'll start off as potentially raining before becoming sunny and then going to cloudy, while their high moves from 30 to 22 degrees. Checking out the highways now, visit Drive BC for the latest and up-to-date conditions, and as always, drive safe out there. Highway 16 has construction work, bridge maintenance, utility work, road maintenance work, road sweeping, paving operations, and other maintenance planned. Highway 35 has bridge maintenance, Highway 37 has bridge construction, crack sealing, and road maintenance work, and Highway 37A is still dealing with falling rocks between west of Mesianen and east of Stewart, alongside some maintenance and paving operations. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the View of the Province's highway cams. Still to come, Canada is facing a deadline to get a trade deal done with the U.S. Welcome back. New research from UBC is revealing more on the impacts of the province's free birth control policy that was announced 2 years ago. The study shows more women opted for long-acting birth control methods, including IUDs. And as CTV's Yasmin Gandam reports, researchers hope it's a call to action for the federal government to step up.
Long-acting birth control methods such as an IUD cost anywhere from $300 to $450, but since April of 2023, an IUD is free.
There was a 49% increase in use of long-acting reversible contraception attributable to this policy change.
New research from UBC found prescriptions for all types of birth control jumped significantly when the province started covering the cost. Among women aged 15 to 49, 11,000 more were prescribed IUDs, which are considered 10 times more effective than other forms of contraception.
This really tells us that costs were indeed a true barrier for British Columbians to use prescription contraception and to select those most effective methods.
She says the findings demonstrate the need for national pharmacare coverage. Last week, the federal health minister said the government would not commit to pharmacare beyond BC, Prince Edward Island, Manitoba, and the Yukon, which Schumer says may lead to some choosing other less effective options or forgoing contraception entirely.
And our findings tell us that this should remain a priority and is essential to improve access to contraception and reproductive autonomy.
Here in Vancouver, local clinics say demand for IUDs is surging.
We just recently had to make a separate phone line specifically for people calling about the long-acting reversible contraceptives.
Dr. Hall is the medical director at Willow Health Center. She says more providers, including nurses, are able to perform the procedure, and she is optimistic about women's health care in BC.
I think it's going to get better and better for our patients as time goes on, as more people are trained and trained well.
The question remains whether women's health will be as accessible in other parts of the country. Yasmin Gandham, CTV News, Vancouver.
The countdown is on as Canada seeks to reach a trade agreement with the United States before Trump's August 1st deadline. The threat of tariffs as high as 50% are just a few days away as Ottawa works to get a deal done. CTV's Abigail Beeman has more.
Canada's Prime Minister and the American President were both visiting islands and talking trade. Donald Trump in Scotland musing about baseline world tariffs.
I just want to be nice. I would say in the range of 15 to 20%.
The negotiations are at an intense phase. It's a complex negotiation.
While on Prince Edward Island, Mark Carney repeated in French that a deal with no tariffs is unlikely.
We're standing up for Canada, Canadian interests. Of course, the United States is looking out, the President's looking out for the interests of American workers. There is a landing zone that's possible, but we have to get there.
There appears to be a backing away from the tariff for tariff, elbows up, sort of combative tone.
Former Foreign Affairs Minister Peter MacKay feels we may not get the kind of deal we want.
Donald Trump has really had his way with many countries, and they are coming to heel and rolling around like kittens on a couch.
While Ontario's premier still hopes Canada is treated differently.
A tariff on Canadians is a tax on Americans. Prices will go up.
It's not the kind of recession-inducing shock that 25% on literally everything would have been.
This University of Calgary economist says a 15% baseline tariff on non-CUSMA compliant goods would still be a net negative for the Canadian economy. But it's important to focus on the bigger picture, what happens with CUSMA down the line.
That's a much more important potential shock to the economy than a 15% baseline with an exemption for trade agreement compliant exports.
Trump's trade deal deadline is Friday, with the Prime Minister saying Canada is still engaged in negotiations. Mark Carney stressing Canada is also already a big investor in the United States as we watch other countries sign deals that require major financial commitments. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
To the Middle East now, where the leader of the UN's humanitarian agency says more than 100 truckloads of aid reached Gaza on Sunday. It comes after days of mounting international pressure for Israel to ease some restrictions. CTV's Colton Prail reports.
This is what it means to see humanitarian aid re-enter Gaza. Exhausted and famished, this family now has some hope.
This is Adam. He's having seizures, and he's been also suffering from starvation.
But Canadians with family in the enclave say food isn't reaching everyone.
It's a continuous struggle to try to call some organizations on the ground to get some food baskets delivered to my family, and all they are saying is that there's nothing we can do.
This weekend, airdrops and trucks are shuttling into Gaza with renewed urgency after Israel announced it would begin daily pauses of military activities in 3 regions of Gaza from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. local time for aid to flow. For some, it's a glimmer of hope after years of anguish.
I've been calling my therapist on a weekly basis.
Israel insists there is no starvation in Gaza.
What a bold-faced lie.
There is no policy of starvation in Gaza, and there is no starvation in Gaza.
Fadi Kader says he feels gaslit as his relatives go hungry.
And when they say never again, what do they mean by that? Never again if you look like that, or never again if you look like that, or never again if you look certain religion, certain color? That is not never again.
The World Health Organization saying over 60 people died in Gaza due to malnutrition this month, while nearly 1 in 5 children are acutely malnourished.
Whatever bit of aid is going to enter the Gaza Strip undoubtedly will save lives, but it's clear that what is needed is really a consistent influx.
Meanwhile, Israel says it will continue to allow the minimal entry of humanitarian supplies while it continues to fight until complete victory.
And now we turn our attention to how the stock markets are looking as of today compared to yesterday. The Canadian dollar is down 0.15 of a cent, the price of gold is up $14, oil is up $2.50, natural gas is up 9 cents, aluminum is down $34.50, in Toronto the TSX is up 134.46 points, the Venture Index is down 11.85, in New York the Dow Jones is down 204.57 and Nasdaq is down 80.29. Still ahead, the Toronto Blue Jays are soaring way past all expectations. Welcome back. The Toronto Blue Jays are on an epic run that's seen them obtain the best record in Major League Baseball. It has fans across the country hopping on the bandwagon. Here's CTV's Camille Caramali with more on their success and those benefiting from it.
And Springer drills it.
It's been win after win.
It's gone!
After win.
Guerrero!
And the hits just keep on coming. The Toronto Blue Jays have been on a tear.
Fair ball!
And after taking 3 wins out of 4 against the Detroit Tigers, they stand alone atop the standings. Now the best team in baseball.
I mean, we're on top of the world. Throws to first!
Something that hasn't happened this late in the season since 1992 when they won the World Series.
They have great offense, right? It's super deep. They have up and down the line of guys that can put up great at-bats and work.
That deep offense has ticket prices soaring. Seats that were $30 last season now going for as much as 5 times that amount. While the bats are booming, so is business.
Crowds are in by 2 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game. Like, compared to last year, there's just a buzz around the game.
A matinee game on a Sunday, allowing businesses to cash in with increased profits.
From last year, probably a good 15 to 20% better.
That's because the team's success is reeling in new fans.
I've always watched just a few innings here and there, but now, I love watching the whole game.
And converting those across Canada.
I'm from St. John's, Newfoundland.
Okay, and are there a lot of Jays fans there?
I'm sure there are.
Not knowing how far the team can go.
Very exciting. Very exciting. I think this is their year.
With just about a third of the season left, anything can happen in the regular season, but a team can usually put themselves in a pretty good spot to make the playoffs if they have 90 or more wins. The Jays right now with over 60 wins, and looks like they have a lot more left in the tank. Kamil Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
That's all our news for now. For everyone here at CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin, and thanks for watching.